Hello and welcome. My name is Connor Marsh with Excalibur Financial Services. We are a Jacksonville, Florida-based money management firm whose founder, Gary Marsh, has been in the business for over 35 years. Today, we'll be looking at a quick economic update in light of some recent trade discussions between China, the United States, and also to touch on the Federal Reserve's recent interest rate cut. The performance and return data on this market recap report has been provided from our friends at JP Morgan Asset Management. But, however, all the insight and commentary comes from the constant market research and years of experience we have here at Excalibur Financial Services. This is a report I'm sure most of you are familiar with and seeing. It's basically a snapshot of market activity, and we'll be diving into a couple areas in closer detail. This is a look at some of the equity market indexes, the different ones around the world. I think the first thing to note is the year-to-date numbers here. We see that most are well into the double-digit range. The only one still in single digits is the emerging market area. Again, we feel a lot of this has been impacted, these areas impacted by the trade tariff discussions, and they've likely disrupted some global manufacturing in these emerging market regions. On the 1 week number, I think it's important to note that we can see that all these figures are down, anywhere from 2 to 4%. We feel a lot of this volatility we're seeing is due to China's retaliatory maneuver to drop the value of their currency to some of the lowest levels we've seen since 2008. Basically, by making their currency cheaper, it makes all of their exports that much more attractive, that much cheaper for other countries to buy. Conversely, on the other side of the coin, it also makes any goods that the U.S. Is exporting to China far more expensive. So any agriculture or anything like that being sold to China would, again, now be that much more expensive or less attractive for them to be purchased. China did this in response to the Trump administration vowing to impose a 10% tariff on $300 billion of Chinese goods. The United States hasn't had much choice, as it seems, in this regard. China hasn't changed any of their laws on technological or intellectual theft and haven't followed through with their promises to start buying agriculture and follow through in that regard. But since that time, their currency has since stabled this week, and we've seen the equity markets respond very favorably. This is a look at some of the key rates. I think this is another area that could have contributed to some volatility, and I'll explain why here in a moment. But we can see over the last few weeks in July versus now, all these rates have decreased some, of course reflecting their interest, the Federal Reserve's recent 1/4% interest rate cut. This is the first time the Federal Reserve has cut rates since 2008. And this is something, this rate that they control is something they use to either stimulate economic growth or by decreasing it, or they can increase this rate to combat inflation or prevent the economy from overheating or things of that nature. So we think the reason behind some of the volatility that we're seeing is that these financial markets and investors are really unsure where the Federal Reserve is going to go from here. They've made their first interest rate cut, but they really haven't commented much on what they plan to do in the future. Are they going to leave rates unchanged? Are they going to, again, cut rates in September and December? It's really up in the air at the moment. So we'll see how their future meetings go, and I'm sure investors and markets around the world will be tuned in, as will we, to see what their opinion is in that regard. So again, this is just a quick market update and economic recap. Wanted to touch on a few of those areas that I felt have been in the news lately and impacting markets around the world. So we hope you found this information helpful. Again, my name is Connor Marsh with Excalibur Financial. Please feel free to reach out with any questions you have about today's video. or any other financially related questions you may have. Our number is 904-619-5944, or you can reach us on our website, excaliburfs.com. Thank you, and have a great rest of your week.